Thank you for tuning in to Global City Unity. I'm your host T, and today I have Randy, and I also have Bruce, and we're going to be having a slight discussion on entrepreneurship, community activists, and different things that's going on with the community that they're both are doing. So first, I would like to start out with you, Mr. Randy. Can you just tell us a little bit about what's going on in the community and how you're helping our community as far as our young children, women, and as well as men?
Okay. Well, right now the community is in a lot of trouble. You know, as far as young black males, we on the verge of being extinct.
Okay.
You know, half of us are either locked up or being killed.
Right.
And it's something that's it needs to stop. You know, the violence level is just out of control. So what I'm trying to do is find a way to prevent, you know, some of the things that happen. I know I can't stop it all, but I can at least try to, you know, make a dent.
Soul.
Exactly.
Okay. And is this something that actually
Excuse me.
transpired you to do this, like something that happened early on in your life that, you know, made this goal or this dream that you have try to get achieved?
Yeah. You know, when I was younger, I used to be a youth supervisor at this place called Campaign for a Drug-Free West Side, and
Okay.
I used to go out to schools and talk to kids about drug and gang prevention.
Okay.
And then just being in my community itself, seeing all the, you know, the violence that was taking place. You know, a couple of years ago, I had a cousin that fell victim to some of the violence in the area. So it just made me want to do something about it.
Now, when you say in the community, what can you tell us where you're from or what community? Or I know you're probably trying to reach the whole city if we can,
Right.
but what the predominantly where you are originally from or
Okay.
aiming to be?
I'm originally from the Austin area on the west side.
Okay.
The area I want to target, like you said, is, you know, citywide.
Right.
But right now I'm focusing on the west side, and once things start getting better and going in the right direction, I want to expand a little bit.
Okay. Okay. And we'll most definitely come back to you. Can you let us know, basically, Mr. Bruce, what you have going on and your entrepreneurship and
Well, sure. One of the things that we started out with at the Gift House,
Okay.
we do HIV, STD testing and counseling.
that's great.
And
And is that for everyone or anyone?
that's you know, we started out in the North Lawndale area,
Okay.
and we noticed that people were coming as far away from Wisconsin because our testings are free,
Wow.
and you know, we don't look like a traditional clinic. So you
Okay.
walk in there, it's almost looks like we're probably selling some clothesline or something.
Okay.
And that's to remove the stigma, so people wouldn't mind coming
Feel
in and getting
comfortable.
tested. Right, to create the comfort level. And by doing that, we were able to get people from pretty much all over. And funny thing about STDs, I mean, people, you know, they want to get tested. HIV has a stigma, and because of the stigma, if you're on far north side, you don't mind coming all the way to the west side to get tested because
Exactly.
you don't want your friends knowing,
Right.
you know, what's going on in your personal life. So you come over to where we are, and in doing so, we were able to test, you know, a lot of people, and we get funded through CDC and the state and private funding.
Okay.
And we're doing pretty good. What I notice, however, is that African Americans and Latino Americans are the highest.
Oh, really?
Okay, and we are the highest in terms of HIV. Now, here's what this looks like. Out of 100 women, okay, 25 out of 100 women are black and they're positive with HIV. Okay, 8 out of 10 men in certain areas of the west side of Chicago are positive with HIV. And so we're dying at an alarming rate. And it's interesting that we talk about entrepreneurship on this forum, because what happens is, you know, when you don't have a job to go to, okay, and you don't have that structure in your life, then one of the ways you pass time with drugs, alcohol, sex,
Yep.
violence,
Mm-hmm.
and it all goes goes hand in hand. And I see that when we're talking to people who come in and get tested, and they say, well, I don't have no job, or I'm gonna go after this woman here, or I'm gonna go after this woman there, and then they finally figure out, we come back with the test and says, hey, you're positive. The way they deal with that, normally, other, I just be straight, other, non people of color, they got therapists to go to and all this other stuff. People of color don't have that. It's just not in place. And because they don't have that, they do other things like drugs and alcohol. And I think that, and I don't want to make it sound depressing, but I have to tell the truth about what's happening in our society.
Right.
If we're going to address it, head on. So we've been trying to look at ways in which we can bring employment to people in addition to providing them with adequate health care, getting their lives together, and then showing them that there's a better way in which you can live your life and not be bogged down with all the pressures of drugs, alcoholism, and then just having no self-worth, where you would just give your body, men and women, because men can get a body up too, but women tend to have the grace of it, if you will, where she just doesn't supposed to give herself up. But men have the same thing. Men's got to learn how to control himself and not give himself up.
So what do you think, or what do you feel, since you're saying you're going to be just discreet about it, what do you feel about the mentality that people of color have when it comes down not just to, HIV, or not just to drugs or gang, just basically in general? It comes back to basically what you were saying about, how you have the gift house, and you provide certain services. So what do you think about the mentality of not just when they are HIV positive, but just if you have a person that comes in and wind up not being HIV positive, but their mentality is not at the level where, as though, like you said, they're gonna turn over to drugs, sex, alcohol. What do you think that we can do as one to change the mentality of our men and women?
That's
because then it comes down to the children and the youth.
That's a great question. And the first thing that must happen with people of color, okay, we need to learn the truth about ourselves. Okay, if you turn on the television now and just count the number of television programs, flip through the channels. Go channel 7. Now channel 7 got like 4 channels, like 7-1, 7-2, 7-3, 7-4. Just flip through all their channels and try to find some television program that resembles you.
Okay.
You may find one channel. They got one channel out called Bounce. I don't have cable, I just regular television.
Oh, okay.
Called Bounce. It's a Afrocentric television show. And then you got it's a Spanish channel where you can see which one channel for the Spanish people. All the other channels is for a minority. Europeans are a minority. People of color are the majority. You don't see yourself on television.
Right.
And if you do see yourself, I'm not trying to put Tyler Perry down, but the Browns make people of color look really, really bad. I don't know people like that. I just don't. And they make people of color look really, really bad. And so if you have that view of yourself constantly feeding you every time you turn television on, and people use television as a getaway, as a vacation.
Right.
They sit down, they want to have dinner, they watch television.
Right.
They sit down, they want to just kind of just relax, they watch television. And constantly you're watching this television program, and everything on the television looks negative about you. How, at some point in time, I'm not a psychology major, But at some point in time, it's going to have some type of psychological effect on you. And if you look around at communities like Inglewood, Pullman, Lawndale, Austin, Humboldt Park,
Oh, yeah.
it has an effect on these people. Okay? And that's the imagery that is coming through the television that's sending it out there. And then, you know, it becomes systemic. I mean, where you just don't see a way in which they can find their way out. And it becomes institutionalized. You go to your schools right now, they're getting rid of all our schools.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know,
I know. I just did just spoke at the graduation, one of the on the west side of Chicago at Crane High School, and when I went up there to speak, I actually was a alumni from the school that I spoke to the kids, and I'm like, we had about 65, 70. It was 20 years ago, but still, you know, we had about 65, 70 8th grade graduates, and I look back and it was only like 17. And even though it was only 17, you might have had a handful of parents or family members that was in the audience. And as I spoke to the kids, I even spoke to the parents or to the audience that was out there, like, you know, we have to be there for our children, you know. So that's why I asked, when it comes down to the mentality of, you know, our race, it starts from us, and then it comes down, it just backslash on the youth. So that's why I asked the question about the mentality, because, you know, where are we going? That's number one question.
You know what? I gotta jump on that, T. Where are we going? Look, there's an old saying: if you take the wrong road, you'll never get to the right place. There's a saying worse than that one: if you don't know where you're going, then any road would do.
Okay.
Okay, and you'll never know when you get there, because you don't know where you're going anyway. And some of us have taken the wrong road, and others don't even know what road we're on. Okay, so whatever the destination is, it's going to be a bad ending.
Regardless.
Exactly. We need guidance.
Most definitely.
Okay, we need some guidance. You don't have the family structure anymore in the African American community.
Oh, most definitely.
Pardon the expression, but you know, our Americanized society has gotten rid of that. They said in the 60s that if a woman wanted welfare, okay, that she couldn't have a man in the home. Now, she had to have a man at some point in time because she got kids.
And constantly having them.
Exactly. So they said, look, if you got a man in your home, you got to get him out if you want us to give you something. The government was saying that. Okay, so what does that mean? That's why I say it's systemic.
And it's still going on to this day. And I say that because, you know, I deal with a lot of young parents, a lot of, you know, older parents, you know, and I always tell them when we have meetings that the system is designed for you to fail. You have to get that mentality that you are not going, welfare is supposed to be something that is partially given, not forever. It's temporarily.
But here's the thing. They make people of color the biggest users of welfare. That's not true.
Oh, no.
We only represent 10% of the population, African Americans, in the United States. 10%, just African Americans. And now you look at people of color, then we're the majority. But if you look at just African Americans, and they may give us the worst deal of all. Oh, they welfare queens and welfare, you know, this and welfare that. We only represent, there's only 22 million African Americans. Okay, now the majority of most of our men and now our women are locked up anyway.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you got this small percentage of black folk. Okay, but the majority of the people who are on welfare are white people. They don't say nothing about they've been on welfare for years.
For years, yes.
And they outnumber us by the millions. And they're the ones and they're in suburbia. You know, and you don't hear nothing about that. That's like the quietest kept secret. But let Monique or Shaquita get a food stamp. Ooh, they gonna let her have it.
And then they're gonna tell her that she only could be on for 60 months or whatever the case may be, and you got 2 more months and your stuff's gonna end.
Yeah.
You know, And I'm with you with that 100%. And that's a good thing. And that's the reason why you guys are raising, like you said, the gift house and health clinics, and even, you know, myself with centers, because we're trying to help give jobs back in the community.
Right.
You know, without people of our mindset, they're going to fall. And if we're able to help them in any type of way, just like yourself and also myself and whomever else trying to make something happen in the community, that we're going, my thing is just to make sure that if we, like he said, he can't save them all, but if you can just get one soul that you can save, you know that you helped get off drugs, or, you know, turned over from gangs, or, you know, even if they got HIV, they're taking the correct medicine.
Right.
You know, because I know a few people that has HIV and they don't want to take the medicine, you know, and we have to sit and cope them and, you know, say you have children, you know, you don't just let yourself die, and, you know, it becomes a lot. And it's just something that you are on the site saying that you have that center for them. One other question that I do want to ask is, at the gift house, do you guys have some type of counseling for the ones that, because I know you mentioned it earlier, that we of color don't have the therapist to talk to and things like that. Have you thought about maybe going out, you know, looking for someone who will volunteer the work?
Well, we do counseling.
Okay.
I think that for people of color, we're going to need something a little bit more in depth. That's just the counseling we do is mostly for HIV or one of the STDs. If a person come out positive, then we'll go through the counseling that is required by you know, the CDC. To so that they don't do anything rash. Because it's not a death sentence. It's just like a illness, like diabetes or high blood pressure. You can
well, like a STD or something. You some you can get rid of, some you can't.
Right.
You have to maintain it, right?
Exactly. And some stuff, like you say, some stuff is actually curable. And others isn't. You know, but no matter what the situation is, it's not a death sentence. You still get to live. You just got to be more careful. You know, in the future. So, but with regard to answer your question directly, we would need some type of psychological services in the community, not because you're dealing with people who are on the verge or who have manic depressive or schizophrenia or something. Not for that, but for the conditions of stress that they're placed up under, to deal with that. Because see, that leads to drugs. When they see a group of African American men or Hispanic men standing on the corner and they out there looking like, or they're selling drugs, they say, oh look, they are all dope dealers. Okay, so no matter if you're black or Hispanic, you right away you're pegged as a dope dealer. And don't have baggy pants on or have a hoodie, you may get shot like Trayvon. You know, so I mean, it's the stigma. But you got to ask the question: how did it get like that? Okay, why is it that young black men are on the corner selling drugs? Okay, because if the average kid, African American kid or Latino kid, they don't grow up, wake up one morning and say, I guess I want to be a drug dealer today. No, they want to be a fireman, they want to be a policeman, they want to be a doctor, they want to be a lawyer, they want to be engineers. Nobody wants to grow up to be a drug dealer. It's no jobs in their community. And so because there's no jobs, they go out and they sell drugs because the dope man offers them a job.
There you go.
Now, if the dope man can offer them a job, our government can offer them a job. Our society can offer them a job. And you won't have all these problems. And you won't have to do so much counseling because they have a normal, a normal way of life. You get up, they go to work, they come home. You know, you will have problems, but not problems where, you know, they can't, your community is besieged. You know, you have your little personal problems. I mean, and they should have. I rather wonder what pair of pants I'm gonna wear versus if I'm gonna sell some dope today. You know, that problem I could probably live with. But no kid no kid, and it's sad because they paint that picture of people of color that we all,
Everyone.
druggies and stuff like that, and it's not true. No
Right.
kid grows up
Wanted to do that.
wanting to do something like that.
Right. Do you have any? You want to jump in?
Well, actually, it's funny that he said that. I watched a newsreel of a young kid being interviewed by the news, and the guy who was doing the interviewing asked this like 8-year-old boy. Matter of fact, he was 4. What did he want to do when he grew up? And he said, "I want to get me a gun," because it was just a shooting, someone was killed.
Okay.
And he was like, "I want to get me a gun when I get old. I want to get me
Now
a gun."
this was on the news.
This was on the news.
Okay.
But here's the part: the news only aired that part of the interview. They didn't air the whole interview. But if you watch the whole interview, the little boy goes on to say, "I want to be a policeman when I grow up."
Wow.
But this is how the media portrays us,
Right.
as being black and ignorant, and for some strange reason, that's the way they want us to look, when that's not the truth about us, really.
Right.
So it goes back to what Bruce was saying: know who you are,
And I just want to throw this out too. Randy has a program, and what I like about it, people talk about the drugs and how bad drugs are in the community and all that stuff. All you have to do, and his program actually goes out, go to a corner where they're selling drugs, and go talk to those guys. And just go straight talk to them. Say, look, you know what? We're going to give you some other options. But you're going to have to stop putting this poison in our community, destroying our children and destroying our community. Just go to them. You can't call. The police aren't going to help you in that regard.
They won't, because then what would they have to do?
Exactly.
Yeah,
They're not gonna. They're not gonna do. By the time you call them, everybody's gone anyway.
Right.
So they're not going to be able to help you, really help you. You have to, know who those perpetrators are. Okay, everybody in their community know. They know they go a little Pookie and they go a little Ray Ray, and just catch them on the corners where you see where they are. Because they just right there on the corner. They're right there. And just say, look, we're going to shut this down.
And they're not bad people.
No.
At all, period. Because we said, I talk to them. If they're standing outside, we want to take the kids out, I just, go and say, we want to bring the kids out. Can y'all, and politely just move away.
And they do it.
And they have no problem with it. And like I always say, I understand everybody has a hustle, And I know it's not y'all fault that y'all out here. Because it's not, It's just that some of them have tried to have jobs. They get laid off of them, or something, they might lie on the thing and say they ain't, ex-con or whatever the case may be. And, it's so much when it comes down to, especially black males. It's so sad, because they'll leave the black males in the community, in the city, but now they're sending the women that have Section 8 and all that to the suburbs.
Right.
They're sending them now. That goes to why the schools are closing, because they're changing some of the schools over to charter schools, or either the parents or the women and children are moving to other suburbs that's thinking it's going to help them get better, when in actuality, you're really still stuck at the same place where you were at, because you're still getting Section 8, you're still on welfare, and you still don't have a job.
Right.
And guess what? Now you're causing problems on the black men, because now they're trying to drive out to the suburbs to get to you, when now the police is stopping, and boom, there, they locked up.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
So it's like we can't win for losing.
And that's why I say what's going to have to happen is that people of color, particularly black people, have to set the vanguard and say, we're going to have to solve our problems ourselves. Okay? We can't look for outside society to come in and fix our problem. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. This whole thing with the charter school, they're just cherry picking which student they want. Public school has to take everybody.
But not the charter school.
But the charter school, they can say, well, you know what? I'm going to take this kid, not this kid, not this kid. I'll take that one way in the back there. Bring them, come on up front. And these are the kids I got. So I didn't cherry pick the kids I want. The rest of the kids, get away. I don't want you.
And that's how it is.
And that's which is kind of cool. A teacher would love to pick the students to go to their class.
Right.
But
Right.
look at this. They get to pick the entire student body to go into the school. That's not education. That's selection.
That's
You
a
know,
lot
and
of
if you don't
randomly
get the
picked.
grades that the kid don't get the grades that they're expecting to get, kick them out. Get out of our school. You're bringing our status down. So you're not educating the kid. Okay, you're just trying to find a kid to make you look good. And that's why, you know, I think his name was Dr. Michio Kaku. He's a PhD in physics, a Japanese doctor. He said that America suffers from a lack of intellectual capital. He said that if it wasn't for the H-1B visa, we wouldn't have where you bring in immigrants from overseas to go to our schools like Harvard, Princeton, Yale, University of Chicago, University of Northwestern, and their science programs. If they didn't come from overseas, particularly like from India, okay, if they didn't come from overseas and get in their programs, we wouldn't have no science programs. Because we're not, here in the United States, we're not educating kids. We don't have a intellectual capital here. We get them from overseas, and they make us look good because we pay them when they get over here.
Right.
But if they decide that we all going back home,
It's
in
over.
fact, it's good. It's over because Dr. Michio Kaku says that the programs, like our space programs, it's 100% from people from overseas. There's no Americans in that program, black or white.
I'm sure.
You know, they all so if they decide to go back to where they came from, the intellectual genius goes back with them. You know, and you know, so that's where we are, and that's why I say that. But before the turn of the century, black folk had skills. You wanted the stoplight, Morgan Granite. We invented that. We invented the telephone, Louis Lavender. We laid out the whole city of Washington, D.C., Benjamin Banneker. Okay, we were the inventors and everything.
And they still have those same skills that's within us.
Right.
But it's something that's just stopping it.
No, there's something. You know, we're gonna tell it like it is. Tell the truth. Something like you know that European Americans do not want African Americans to do well. They will sabotage your schools. They will sabotage your neighborhoods. I look at how they come up and break up our sidewalks when they're fixing stuff. They break up our sidewalks right in front of our businesses. They break them up and they leave it like that, knowing you can't conduct no business if your sidewalk look like a bomb hit it.
Right.
And they leave that for weeks. And then they come and pave it. And you think, okay, they're done. They come back tomorrow and break it up again. So it stays broke up longer than it stays fixed. But in other communities, you go to the far north side, they don't do that to their businesses. And stuff look nice and neat. Now, we ain't breaking up sidewalks with sludge hammers, but somebody's coming in our communities doing it. And as long as it looks like that, everybody's happy. And they says, oh, this is black community.
But then there comes there too comes in when the alderman's supposed to come in and step up, right?
Symbolism without substance. That's what we have with political leadership. Okay, it's not leadership for them, it's employment.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I got me a job, and it pays $100,000, and I got this false symbol as a leader. Symbolism without substance, because they would do whatever it takes to keep that job. Okay, they're not looking at the type of problems they create for you.
Right.
Okay, or what it's how it's gonna be. It's gonna create a pathology of woe for the community.
For the community.
They don't look at that. I just got a job, and because I got this job, I'm better than you. because I got this job. They don't see that the reason why they were there, people were hurting so bad that they actually believed, they were looking for hope. And they believed in you. And they voted
And
for
they voted
you.
for you. Yeah.
Hoping against hope that you would do something for
About
them.
it, yep.
And all you saw was a paycheck. That's a sad commentary.
Yes.
You know.
It is.
Now, if that's a crime, they should make that a crime.
That's what
Just
made
to
me
lock
bring it
folk
up.
to
Right.
do stuff like that. And they sit there and
nothing.
they instead of actually helping people, they throw birthday parties for themselves. That's crazy. And then they give you some chicken that somebody donated to them,
Oh,
and they give it to you that you vote for me. Here's the chicken. You know, it's just it's sad. We have to have some serious folk that sit down and says, look, we're gonna stop playing these games. You know, and we're not going to depend on nobody else, no government programs. We're gonna look at ourselves, because black people alone represent the 8th richest nation in the world in terms of our spending power.
Okay.
If we decide, now Dr. King was dead on the money. If we decide that we're not going to shop, okay, we just not gonna go to pick a spot they go to all the time.
You
Tops
can use
and
women
bottoms.
beauty supply store and
It's
get
the
hair.
perfect one.
We ain't gonna go to the women's beauty supply store. What was the other place you said?
Tops
Tops and
and bottoms.
bottoms.
We ain't gonna go to Tops and Bottoms. We just gonna chill for a week.
Everything will be.
We ain't
Yeah,
gonna buy no more
totally.
Nike gym shoes or Adidas gym shoes. We're just gonna stop for a week.
Yeah.
It would collapse.
Oh, most definitely.
It would collapse. So you don't even have to go to the government. You don't even need no political leader for this.
Right.
You just say, here's what here's some things we're not going to do. Okay? We're not gonna unless Jules hire. You go to the. I went to go check out. I bought something from Jules. I went to check out, and it was one tailor, and then the other 4 was automatic tellers.
Oh yeah.
Right. We
And
talked
so I had
about
to go
that.
check myself out.
Right.
And I realized that it's 1, 2, 3, 4 automatic tailors. And then they make you got to have this card if you want to lower the price.
Oh yeah.
You-
The jewel card.
the jewel
Right.
card. Now if you don't have that, you got to find a
Customer service rep or someone to come help you.
right. Now my wife, she always had a card. Since I don't carry no jewel cards around with me, and so I'm looking for the customer service rep. Hey, can I borrow your card? Well, had it been a real person there, I wouldn't have to go through all that, And so what we can say is, if y'all want our money, you got 4 automated tellers here. You put 4 people of color here from our community, okay? Or we not shopping here no more. We gonna go to the Dominex or go to. Hopefully, we get a brother that creates a
Some type of
market,
store.
and then we'll go
there.
to his place.
Right.
And because certain things you don't need technology for
You
if
don't.
it's gonna cause people problems. Technology is supposed to aid us, not to eliminate us.
That's what it's doing though.
Okay.
Elimination.
Yeah, it's just up for elimination. It's supposed to. I don't want a telephone that talks to people for me.
Right.
I can do the talking to the person. All the machine got to do is just dial
Dial
it.
it.
But when it begins to eliminate me, I don't need that phone no more.
Right.
And that's where we got to put a hold on that and say, like, whoa, don't exclude us. And the one thing they need our money.
Right.
Okay, don't give it to them. Watch everything smooth out.
I believe it. I know I've been in the stores and I've seen women use the unemployment card. Swiping the card. This was like Valentine's Day. Swiping a unemployment card to get they guy, boyfriend, whatever. You spend all I got is $305 on my whatever the card is.
Right.
Debit card unemployment thingy. So you gonna spend the whole $305 on him? Just off the card, like that's why I'm saying about this mentality thing, like, it's not even as serious when you got kids, and then the first thing you're gonna say is, I don't got no money. I don't have no money. I don't have no money. You don't have no money because you're not using your money wisely. That goes back to spending $400-500 on hair, or going to get your hair braided for $250, or you know, it's some things that we do that they don't do. Just like they'll take their $250 and put it up, and they'll put a ponytail in hair, or gel it, or wet it, whatever you want, put mousse in it, whatever the case may be. And guess what? In another 1 month, they're gonna have $1,000 because the $250 that they spending every week on something else, they're collecting it. So that's what to me it's just this mentality thing that we have to do something about to try to help our people.
We have to make it cool to take care of us.
Right.
Okay? You know, it has to be something where it's got to be hip, it got to be slick, it's got to be fly to take care for you to stay with your wife. That's got to be cool, the cool thing to do. Okay? I don't care how fine this other honey is, I'm not going to go chasing after her. I'm going to stay with my wife. Okay? And likewise for the woman, I'm going to stay with my husband. Okay? And with something I don't get, which is speak to the mentality piece. It used to be if you had a child with a woman, then she wouldn't mind you spending time with your kid. Now you have the minute you have a child with the woman, she breaks away from you, okay, and she wants the other man to take care of the child, but you can't see the child. Okay, which is, to me, that's some kind of strange. That goes back to having some counseling.
Yeah.
You know, that's some strange stuff.
But that all goes too with parents, back to the generation thing. When the parents not being in the house, they don't have any structure.
Right.
So if they're not able to see that a man, you have a kid, that is man. If you can't make it work, that's still his kid. You cannot force another man to take care of this.
He's not going.
He's not going to do it. I mean, it's not going to be the same regardless.
No, he would be if the man decides to help out with the kid, he's only being respectful.
That's it.
But that's it. The minute that relationship is gone, he's gone, and the kid is going to wonder what happened.
Yep.
But the father of that child is going to always know deep down in his heart that, you know, that's my kid, and no matter what, he can be a loser. He's gonna try to be a winner for that kid because he knows that's his kid. You know, but it goes back to what you said earlier. Is we got to get this. We need symbolism to show this structure where it's. And I'm not talking about nothing. Oh, big Hollywood. Just some stuff for the common man, common African American man and woman. Look, it's cool to keep your family structure intact. That's cool for you to be with your woman, for the woman to be with her man, to raise your children together. That's and you struggle and you go through it and realize what's going to happen is I'm not going to get into this smoking cigarettes. I'm not going to be drinking. I'm not going to be doing drugs, because you know you can't do that around your kids.
There you go.
And you can't be telling them, do as I say, not as I do, because they're going to watch you do that kind of stuff. So, and then the woman going to tell you, you're going to have to stop doing that. And it helps together, everyone grows. You know, and then the child knows what a man is supposed to be like, what a mother is supposed to be like, and what a father is supposed to be like. They get these real life symbols.
Right.
But that's going to have to come from us. We're going to have to, it ain't going to fall out of the sky.
Because I say all the time, you look on there, they have Bama, gay parades, everything, all this different type of stuff. So we, as people of color, need to try to get together and have when have we ever had a parade? Never, right?
Look,
never, ever, ever.
I said
we're gonna have to close, but
I know we got close. But I gotta say this. Do you know how many African American felons there are? And I was just talking to Randy about this. I said, you know what? If a person goes to jail, okay, and they serve whatever they serve, 10, 15, 20 years, and they come out, then according to society, they paid their debt. Okay? Well, if that's true, then they should be allowed to vote.
Right.
They're not allowed to vote. They should be allowed to carry a weapon. They're not allowed to carry a weapon. They should be allowed to get a job. They're not allowed to get a job. They should be allowed to open a checking and savings account. They're not allowed to do those things.
Should be allowed to go to school too.
They should be allowed to go to school. They're not allowed to do those things because they went to jail. Now, whatever they went to jail for, according to society, they paid their debt.
They paid their debt.
Okay? To me, that's double jeopardy because I see it every day in my community. Guys is really trying to actually get a fair shake, can't get a fair shake because they're still in prison when they actually come out.
Wow.
And they should have a parade where a bunch of felons parade, be a felon parade, or I don't know if it'd be felon pride parade or something. I don't know if that's something to be prideful of, but they could have that. I mean, it could be a fellow if they got a gay pride parade, you know. So they can have that parade and say, hey, listen, what we want to do is we want an equal and fair shake, because that's what the gay people are saying.
Oh,
and I'm not trying to knock nobody who's gay.
That's right.
I'm just saying that fair is fair.
Right. Well, with that being said, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in today. You know, be blessed with your businesses, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Can't say cut because he's going to snap. Okay. Oh, ringing like crazy. That was good, guys.
Yeah.
You already knew it was going to go good, too. You was like, I'm ready now.
We gonna rock it.
Now
Doing
you
some
finna get back on.
controversial stuff. They're gonna take George off the air now. You gonna say, oh, George, what?
Like subject. Look, if anything, we're gonna put a form in there.
Okay.
This is just the tip of it. So let's have a unity meeting.
Y'all ready? They had Oprah on, and Oprah was talking about race relations.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I received that. We have